Welcome to this great adventure of two sisters.
Absolutely not. Hey guys, welcome to the Regina Kids podcast. I am your host Maxie,
With her lovely younger sister, Rita the Ham.
and here on the podcast, as you can see, sibling relationships can be loving and sometimes a bit
Dramatic.
affect me, please, complicated. So join us every week as we explore all aspects of having a sibling.
Come be our sibling.
Yeah, exactly. Hey y'all, welcome to the Regina Kids podcast. I'm your host Maxie,
And I'm your host, Rita.
and on this podcast we're going to explore life. We're going to dig into sibling rivalries and relationships, and having a sibling can be extremely loving or sometimes complicated depending on the situation. So, yeah, welcome to the Regina Kids podcast.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
So today, this will be our first episode. So we want to do kind of a back and forth so you can get to learn about Regina's kids.
One.
So
Okay, sorry.
I don't, whatever. Okay. So, so between me and Rita, I am the older sibling, but I'm not the oldest sibling. I'm actually the middle child, but unlike other middle kids, I don't have middle child syndrome
She don't.
because people automatically assume I'm the oldest. So I didn't get stuck with being stuck in the middle like most middle child kids have complaints. But definitely like Rita being the youngest, she actually acts like the youngest, spoiled brat.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa. First of all, I'm slightly spoiled, but I think our oldest sister is the most spoiled. I feel like I would be in the middle and then her. If there was a
Whatever. So let's get to know the slightly spoiled child, Rita.
in the middle child, but act the oldest, Maxie.
It is what it is, okay? So, Rita, tell us about yourself, child.
Ooh, let's see. I'm the youngest of three girls, raised by a single mom. Let's see what else. So much to tell. I'm a Leo, so that should
That like
explain.
that was important?
I think so.
Okay, I'm
Why
sorry.
wouldn't it be? It's about me. Anywho, no. I'm a retired makeup artist and hairstylist. I don't have no childrens. Yeah, that's about it so far.
So far.
Yeah, you got to leave them in suspense. You know what I'm saying? You can't give all of it away.
I guess this is what we're
Tell
doing today.
Maxie, tell us about yourself, please.
She being funny right now. Stop it.
Of course, you're going to get a lot of that throughout this podcast. I'm a little extra, just a little.
a lot extra. So, I am a broadcast media manager for this show as well as three other podcast shows, which would be Radical Radio, Infinite Visionaries, and Paint and Release. I don't know, I just froze right there. So all of those can be found on YouTube and wherever you listen to podcasts. So you'll hear me talk about that. I'm also a self-published author.
Author,
I
sorry.
whatever. Uh, um, I self-published my first book last March, which is All My Broken Crayons Still Color. It's a daily affirmation book and a journal. And my second book that just came out 2/22/22 is called Love You More. Grieving Isn't Easy and Healing Hurts. It's about the 5 stages of grief, and it's about starting your process of healing. So we'll dive deep into that later. I'm also still a full time corporate worker at the moment. Yeah, so we'll dig deep into a lot of those different subjects, being a self published author, working for corporate America. Um, I'm currently starting up my virtual assistance business too. So, trying to be an entrepreneur all at the same time. So, it's kind of like I do a lot.
It ain't kind of, you do. And then when she has the opportunity to do nothing, she still has to find something to do.
Hey, I just can't just be sitting on the couch all day, like
Ain't nothing
watching
wrong with sitting
TV.
on the couch once in a while. Everybody needs a quick break.
Yeah. Well, my breaks, I want them to be on an island with my feet in the sand.
And ass and
So, what?
you ain't never heard that saying?
What?
Or is it ass in the sand, feet in the water? Either way, something in the water. Whether it's your ass or your feet.
All right then. So, Rita, what made you want to do a podcast?
I felt like we got some stories to tell, like Slick Rick. I think it's a lot of people that can relate to um being siblings, the struggles that we may have, but also the beauty in it as well. Because there's a lot of beauty in having an actual sibling.
There is, and I think like my main point of wanting to do this with my sibling is that recently, just in conversations with family and stuff like that, you realize that you could have people that grew up in the same house, have the same parents, went through the same experiences, but they have two totally different views on what they feel happened, or even sometimes some siblings catch more of the drama than the other ones, are kind of like sheltered. So I think that's just a aspect of life I think that people can relate to and that people really want to talk about, because I know like with family, um, it could be a lot. So I think that on this podcast you'll see that we'll be going through this healing journey of our siblings and family stuff and life and different things that you go through, so we can all talk about it and go through it together.
Of course. And then we can have people can become our siblings as well. So like if you had I know I have a few friends who are only childs. And they actually wish that they had a sibling. So if you're an only child and you need a sibling, come and be our sibling.
Well, I have a lot of friends that have siblings and they don't have the greatest relationship
That's
with
true.
their siblings. So, your best friends become your siblings. People
True.
that, God put in your life to help you become better. You can consider them your siblings.
Because to be honest, for us to get this point, it was a very hard fight for me to make Maxie become my best friend.
Explain.
Like she fought it for years, but I wore her down. I had to whip
What?
her down. Cause when we was little, oh my god, she didn't want nothing to do with my ass.
That's not true.
It is.
Everybody has that person they grew up with that annoys the hell out of them, and it don't mean you don't want nothing to do with them. You just sometimes need a break. You need
I
a
guess you didn't have that break because I mean we shared rooms as long as I could remember, and I mean I did a few creative things, so I mean I can understand it.
break. A few creative things.
Yeah, just a few.
No, absolutely not.
That's a story for another day.
Right. What did your sibling do that gets on your damn nerves? Right. For another day.
That's a show all by itself.
Right. So, the topic for today, Rita, and you guys can drop us a sib note at our Gmail, which is Regina's Kids Podcast at gmail.com. If you want to comment on the show or ask us a question, or you having trouble dealing with your sibling, because sibling relationships ain't always the greatest. You know
They
what I'm saying? And sometimes you guys do need a break from each other. Sometimes it's something that, you know, a lot of times it's just a communication gap, because I realized with my siblings, it was certain things that I went through with my parents that they didn't. They didn't have to deal with it. They didn't have to be bothered with it. They um, they were kind of sheltered from it, and as we got older and we talked about it, it was like, wait a minute, I didn't know all that happened. You know what I'm saying? So drop us a sib note at Regina Kids. That's REGINAKIDSPODCAST, Regina Kids Podcast at gmail.com. So,
wait
the
to hear.
topic, what you say?
I said I can't wait to hear from them.
Oh, she really wants y'all to be her siblings. I think she wish she grew up in a house full of people.
Yeah,
But,
tribe, that'd have been dope.
what?
A tribe.
Oh, a sibling tribe?
Yeah.
More like a terror squad. Yeah, I've been around here terrorizing people.
Yeah.
The tribe that you trying to have. Anyway, the topic um, for today is, how do you function when you have multiple siblings and you guys don't always get along? Like, um,
Question.
so I can say for our dynamic is, we did grow up in a single parent home with our mother. We have one older sibling. She actually has a different father. So she has five or six other siblings on her dad's side that she tends to be more closer to, even though she grew up in the house with us. And then it's
Facts.
me and Rita, and we have the same dad. So um, growing up, I can say that my older sister was kind of a little standoffish. She was like in her own world. Now, mind you, we are probably, I'm a year and a half younger than her. She's 4 years older than Rita, and me and Rita are 2 years apart. So we are close enough in age where we kind of went to school together.
Yeah. I mean, at
Well,
one
we
point
did go to school together.
was we were all in high school together. I was a freshman, you were a junior, and she was a senior.
So it's kind of like, one would think that because we're so close in age that we should be closer. It's not like there's a, like with my nieces, there's like a 10-year age gap. So one is 23 and the other one is 13, and they kind of don't get along because they're in two different worlds. So for you growing up, Rita, how did you feel with having, you know, your siblings? Like, did you feel like we were all like super close? Did you feel like we were all like distant? Did you feel like you was in your own world? Like,
I would say so. You have to go back for me. Again, this is my experience. For me, growing up, what my mom said was law, right? So it was this one thing that she had said to us all the time that I literally took to heart, like for years. So my mom said, "You don't need any friends, you have sisters." So I took that to heart growing up, and I always wanted to just hang out with my sisters, like even my older sister. Um, and then I just found myself just always getting into y'all shit and messing up some of
that's
y'all.
an understatement.
Well, I'm owning to what I did. I just said messing up some of y'all stuff as well. But I took that to heart, even to this day, even though I do have very close friends, but growing up, I took that to heart. Like, yeah, I don't need any. I really didn't go out trying to have friends and stuff like that. It was people in our like our little neighborhood that I hung out with, but most of the time I always tried to be with my sisters. So I tried to make sure that we stayed close. Um, our older with our older sister, she did her own thing. Like she, one of the most classic stories we have is when it was a blizzard outside, and she went and hung out with her friends, and she left me and Maxie outside in the blizzard. Maxie, I could see Maxie so pissed, but for me, it was just like, oh well, I'm gonna go get this cardboard and I'm gonna just slide because we had this hill in the back of our house, and I'm gonna just just slide down the hill until we can get in the house. Pretty much. But I think so from that it progressed um into me just trying to figure out to do my own thing, because at that time we turned into teenagers and you kind of grow into yourself. So I think we split apart and then came back together.
Um, I guess I could kind of agree with that. I was always a homebody, so I was in the house, so I was kind of always with my siblings.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like for me, it wasn't really like a disconnect because I was kind of, and most people who grow up in single parent homes and then and parents have multiple kids, it's always one kid that's like in charge
Yeah.
of everything, like making sure your siblings get home. Like we grew up during the time of latchkey kids where you could stay at home. You could be in elementary school and your mom gets you ready for the morning and you go to school, but you walk home from school and you let yourself in the house. So I was always picked to be like the more responsible sibling. So I was in charge of making sure that we got home safe and making sure that we didn't answer the phone until my mom got off of work and stuff like that. So I felt like, me and my siblings should be close all the time.
One thing I just thought about though, I think that really changed our dynamic a lot is when we had to leave North Chicago and go to Waukegan schools, and all three of us went to three different schools.
Okay, so we grew up in a suburb outside of Chicago because nobody would know where that is, Rita. But
My
that
bad.
might have because where we originally grew up, they had one elementary. They had a few elementary schools, but everybody went to the same school together. At that time, it was K through eighth grade.
Yeah.
Everybody went to the same school. So then during that time, our schools went on strike. And when they went on strike, we moved to a different city. That was probably like 10, 15 minutes away. But because we moved in the middle of a school year due to the strike at the school at the time, we all did we did go to different junior high schools. So maybe the separation was there because then we had to reach out and everybody, kind of had their own separate set of friends or
Right.
what have you. But yeah, I think uh having siblings could be a great thing. Like nobody wants to go through, it's a ton of people in the world. Nobody wants to go through life by themselves. So um I do know that people do grow up with people and they aren't that close. We have plenty of family members and stuff like that that have siblings, and due to age difference and just different circumstances throughout their life, they're not close like that. So,
Right.
to me, family is important. So, I try to make it a priority that me and my siblings do kind of get along and we hang out and we do stuff and try to keep that close knit. Um,
Take over the
yeah,
street.
I don't know about take over the streets. Like I'm not for the streets. Okay, that might be for
Not
you.
literally, not literally like that.
So, Explain what you do in your day-to-day life, Rita, so people can get an idea of getting to know you a little bit better. You're a retired hairstylist and makeup artist.
Oh yeah, and
How,
I in a modeling too.
so how did all of that come about?
Being in the streets. No, I'm just playing. um, doing hair is honestly your fault because you was pimping me out at 13.
What?
Not not literally. Okay, let me clear that up. Okay, so
Right. What are you talking about?
okay, first let me clear that up. So no, she wasn't pimping me out at 13 like that. Well, technically, yes. So when, like, mind you, I wanted to do everything she did. So right. So she was braiding hair. So I'm like, oh, I want to learn how to braid hair. So she taught me how to braid hair, and then pretty much um we was just braiding hair all the time, and I was not getting paid. So that's how that
That's not
started.
how
And then
that's not
she
how
went to
that
hair
that's
school.
not how that went. But okay.
She went to hair school in high school because you have an option to go to what they call tech campus, and you can start to get your hair license and stuff like that. And I would do her homework when she was at tech campus because I was just so like amazed of the flat irons, the curls, the waves, like all of that stuff. So that's pretty much how I got started into doing hair. And I was the neighborhood braider for long, like micros, box braids. I would change my hair to, oh my God, I done had all types of stuff that I now kind of regret, but don't because I thought I was fly as hell at that point in time. You know what I mean? But I would see like different hairstyles and stuff, and I was like, "Ooh, I gotta redo that hairstyle." So it's this one. If you ever watch Players Club, and the stripper Ronnie, she had like this big, crazy like ponytail. I re mine wasn't as blonde as hers, but I killed that.
Yeah, it wasn't a cute hairstyle in the movie or when
I
you did
thought it was me. It was giving for me. So, I went to hair school, graduated from Mario Takochi, some years later, and I just started hustling. I had worked in a few different salons, um, as an apprentice, learned, which I'm real thankful for. I was working in a salon in Libertyville, Illinois, outside of Chicago, and I learned so much about just sew-ins, tracks, dreads, how important your foundations are, things like that. And it just grew and grew from there. And then later on, I started working with a photographer that was right outside of Chicago as well. I got published a few times with doing makeup. Um, then I just been doing hair, but then eventually as you get older, now mind you, I've been standing on my feet doing hair since I was 13. So a few years back I ended up getting arthritis in my right hip. So I started like slowly tailoring back from there. I also did some stuff with our local college. I would come in during their graduation week and just talk about how to do blowouts, natural hair, stuff like that. What else? Now my day to day now, I work for corporate America. Um, that's pretty much it for my day to day. I would just be chilling in this Florida sun.
so. A backstory is I never wanted to do hair, so it was just a talent that I had since I was 10 years old.
I love it.
Um, um, I used to just I used to roll a set my baby doll's hair and place them on the heater. I was a self-taught hair braider. Like I naturally just it was just a natural talent that I had. where I just could braid hair. Like I could, it might be just the creativity in me that I was just creating all kinds of hairstyles and all that stuff. And she was fascinated with braiding hair, so I taught her how to braid hair. I never wanted to do hair. It's one of those things where just because you naturally talented at it, people assume that's just what you should be doing.
You know
So
what?
I did the hair school stuff. Don't interrupt, Rita.
Sorry.
I did the hair school thing, which for me was boring. I was not impressed with hair school at all because all the things that they were teaching I already knew outside of like the clinical stuff, and then you sit there for hours and hours and hours um, doing roller sets. And that's not to defer anybody from going to hair school. If you love it and that's your passion, more power to you. I was just naturally talented at braiding. And then back then, even though now you could skip hair school now if you just want to be a braider and get certified as a hair braider. But
Oh, well,
that
well, well, what?
that wasn't that's
Check
not for
your.
me.
They need to check the state that they live in, because depending on which state you live in, the rules may differ when it.
Either way, I don't want no parts of it. Um like I don't want to do hair. That was not for me. I did it as a side hustle because you know, you just want a job when you get in high school. You want to have money, and growing up with a single parent, it can be rough. They provide the things that you need, not all the things that you want. So that was my
Sure.
way to be able to provide for the things that I wanted, sometimes the things that I needed, sometimes the things that my siblings needed. So yeah, so it wasn't for me. My day to day is again, I still work a corporate job. I host, or I produce multiple podcast shows, and I'm just trying to start a virtual assistance company. So it's kind of a lot of administrative work and a busy day to day for me. But again, I'm also a self published author. So with my goal of trying to become a New York Times bestseller, like I have like all of these things in my mind to try to do. So I guess the creativity from 10 years old has flowed over into my day to day for my everyday life right now. But yeah, shout out to all the beauticians because I'd rather go to the shop and get my hair done. I'm not doing hair no more. I'm not a
It's
braider.
a
I
wonderful.
retired a long
Oh,
time
you just
ago.
can't go thinking like it's gonna be. Because I remember when I was in hair school, it was a lot of girls that came in there just thinking like, "Oh, this is just an easy job for me to just go ahead and do. It's not hard doing hair." If you don't have any type of sense of doing hair before you go, it may not be for you, and you'll be wasting a lot of money. I
Yeah.
loved hair school. I was fascinated by the formulations, the colors, the um I mean, it is a lot about sanitation, but just getting the basic background about hair porosity and different hair textures and all that, I was fascinated by it.
Yeah, so shout out to all the, kitchen beauticians because I was one of those. Um, right now being a hairstylist is big money. Back then it wasn't a talk about celebrity hairstylists. That wasn't something that was like pushed 20,
Not at all.
25 years ago when I was doing hair. So, it's big business now in the beauty industry and stuff like that. So shout outs to y'all that's continuing to do that. And just a keynote to that, a lot of the stuff that is out now is self created. Like people are just sitting at home creating these different hairstyles and putting
Yep.
them up on YouTube and putting them up on these social media platforms, and people are just trying them and adapting to them. So shout out to y'all. Y'all don't have to worry about me because I'm not gonna be there. I, I am not
But
in it
also,
to win
I mean, for
it.
people who's looking for a hairstylist, or they're not they're out here looking for a shop or you looking for a braider and things like that, make sure you get one that actually wants to take care of your actual hair, not just plop a style in your head. Because it's a lot of these girls out here, well, a lot of these girls, girls, guys, whoever is doing hair, that will be like, oh, you need to wash your hair before you get here. I'm so confused about this whole new age of stylists who don't want to do no work as far as making sure that your hair is healthy.
So yeah, that's her. I don't know if that's her sibling tip of the day, or unless you got something else that you want to tell the people.
No, I could talk about the hair stuff all day, so but that ain't what we doing today.
Yeah, she'll do her own
I could get
podcast
mad
on.
distracted and be like, go down that rabbit hole. So yeah, I'm gonna stop there.
So Rita, tell us something that people would necessarily know about you. What's the big misconception about Rita, the retired hairstylist that wants to go on rants about beauty products?
Something that people don't know about me. Let me think.
Or misconception?
Misconception. Um, honestly, don't know.
You don't
Honestly,
know. You don't know what people don't know about you.
I honestly don't know. Well, let me think. What is it? You go first, and then let me think about that. Cause I mean, I don't really listen to people, so um, you
Jesus
honestly
Christ.
have to be someone super close in my circle to really even know me. So, you know what I'm saying, outside of maybe a video or something that they might see on social media or something like that. I don't know. Um, I know, like, just in like the dating realm, like I know a lot of guys think that I'm materialistic, and I'm the least from that. I guess that could be a misconception. Yeah, I'll go with that one. But outside of that, knowing me personally, you have to be like in all the way somebody that I talk to every day to really know who I am, or I can be like, can honestly give an opinion on me anyway.
Did you really just jump into the dating realm? That's really a topic for another day. For you to
I'm just
jump into
saying, no, I
your
have, that's just
dating
how I think
realm.
about it. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Don't nobody be like, oh, like, I don't get any messages like, oh, I thought you was like this or I thought you was like that. Cause I don't fool with people like that. So,
Alrighty then. Um, I know I've
well,
done
Maxie, what is the misconception that people give on you?
um
I know I can name a few.
whatever. I would
Can I
I
give
would
one
say
real
that
quick?
no,
Why not?
because you
It's
asked
one
me a
that I used
question,
to get all this, that I used to hear all the time.
which is what?
That you were mean.
Oh well, it's the
Like, oh,
misunderstood
your sister's
mean
so
girl.
mean. And I, especially when we got to high school, like, now mind you, in high school, I didn't even have a name. My name was Little Maxie for 2 years straight. Because she was super popular, I guess. And they be
I
like, man, why
guess.
your sister so mean? And I didn't understand what the hell that they were talking about, because we would just walk to the bus stop and you was a full blown goofball on the way to the bus stop.
It's more like the misunderstood mean girl, but that's okay.
Okay.
I could roll with that. So, Rita, give us your sib note of the day.
My sib note of the day. Lead with love. Check on your strong friends. That's my sib note of the day.
Don't get it twisted. That was a great sib note. I'm just laughing because she always say that to me all the time, and she make it as a joke. Like, okay,
Honestly, it's not a joke. I do be just checking on you. Go stalk your sibling if you got one.
I don't recommend that at all.
I do.
Being that I'm the one that usually gets stalked, I don't recommend that. But um, before we end our first episode of the Regina Kids, I want to, thank you guys for listening and coming into, the sibling rivalry world with us and going down this rabbit hole of, just discussing things that you and your siblings probably go through. And it doesn't even have to be your siblings. It could be similar to you and your best friends. Because I know for me, I have best friends that I've been friends with over 25 years, and we act like we siblings because we've been through so much together. So,
Right.
um, with that being said, I'm always end with my favorite thing, my favorite saying of the day, which is let us continue to glow through whatever it is we're going through, and we'll catch you on the next podcast of Virginia Kids.
Bye, y'all.